In the co-main event, we have two fighters squaring off in the welterweight division in the UFC. Daniel Rodriguez, he's going to be making his drop back down to welterweight. His last fight, if you remember, was that real weird scenario where Chimaev missed weight and he was going to fight Kevin Holland anyways, I believe, at 178 pounds, and ended up fighting Leach at 180, or I believe that was the weight, 180 or something like that. And yeah, he got the win, controversial fashion. But it's been a while since Daniel Rodriguez actually had to make the drop all the way down to 170. It's going to be almost 2 years, I believe, since he's had to make that drop down in weight. So we'll see how he does with that. But I think he'll be fine and make the weight pretty easily, like always. And we'll get a good fight. Neil Magny, we know what we're going to get out of him. He's a guy that's had 27 fights in the UFC at this point, which is pretty phenomenal. He has the most wins in the welterweight division's history in the UFC. And 20 wins would be nice. You know, right now he's at 19 wins. 20 wins would be a good way to cement himself even further. I don't think he's thinking about retiring or anything at this point, but I do think Neil Magny is starting to decline a bit. He's been, a warrior for the UFC forever, and having 27 fights, I think it's a little bit going downhill for him. His fight with Max Griffin, I don't think he looked great, even though he picked up the victory, and then he was dominated by Shavkat Rakhmonov. And this fight's tricky, though, because Daniel Rodriguez, he did fight Rico Farrington, who has a similar frame to Neil Magny. He's 6'4", he has a 79-inch reach. Magny's 6'3" with the 80-inch reach. But Rico is a pure striker. He didn't bring that grappling element into the game that Neil Magny is going to bring. And Daniel Rodriguez has never really fought anyone like Magny, who has that frame and also is well-rounded. But he's fought different styles. For instance, like he's fought fighters that are good movers like Nick Dalby. He's fought that long striking style like Dwight Grant, like Rico Farrington. He fought a high-level wrestler like Kevin Lee. He was able to fight a knockout artist in his last fight like the Leech. And, so he has a lot of experience against different style opponents, and he's 17-2, so he's been able to do really well against almost everyone. The one loss that he did have in the UFC, a lot of people felt like that was a robbery against Nicholas Dalby. So he could be undefeated in the UFC, and he could be 18-1, which would be, an even more impressive record. For some reason, 18-1 sounds a lot better than 17-2, right? But Magny, this guy has endless cardio, elite durability, well-rounded skills, and he needs to win this fight to defend his position in the top 10, top 15. I feel like if he loses this fight, he'll probably be bottom of the top 15, and then he'll be like kind of one fight away from maybe being, I don't know if he'll get cut, but just being kind of in obscurity and maybe retiring or something like that. So this is a big fight, I believe, for both guys, because we know what happens when you beat Neil Magny. When you beat Neil Magny, you become a legit top 10 guy, and it would really make Daniel Rodriguez and his win streak, the success that he's had in the UFC, solidified, get him a big name opponent in his next fight. And I'm not saying Neil isn't a big name opponent, but Neil is kind of that gatekeeper to fighting guys in that top 10, top 8. And Neil Magny, he has to win, like I just said, to defend that top 10, top 15 position. So both guys have a lot to play for here, and they're both a little bit older, both 35, so both can't really afford to lose. Historically, Magny has mostly lost to fighters that out-grapple him, such as Shavkat Rakhmonov, Michael Chiesa. He lost to RDA, Damian Maia, Sergio Moraes. The strikers Magny's lost to, Santiago Ponzinibbio and Lorenz Larkin, were both super fast, explosive athletes, much more explosive than D-Rod. Magny, I think he's going to have the same game plan he always does, which, eventually you're going to start to get figured out. But he's going to stay long. He's going to use his kicks, front kicks up the middle, some straight shots, and either try to back up D-Rod and clinch him against the cage, or get D-Rod to overextend or chase him so he can time the clinch that way, and then try to zap his energy by hanging on him, using his length, being effective in the dirty boxing clinch realm that like he is. And, at range, he's going to have to try to stay long, try to keep the jab, I believe, in Daniel's face and try to be high volume. And I would really try to attack those front kicks to the body, punches to the body, because we did see Daniel Rodriguez get hurt to the body against Rico Farrington, who has a similar frame to Neil Magny. And Magny, if he can get it to the ground, then he's going to probably be able to do work there. He's going to probably do well. Daniel Rodriguez does have a good guillotine, which Magny does have to look out for, because I think Magny could be submitted. He has questionable submission defense. And but if Magny can't get on top in cement position, he'll probably be able to control, get Rodriguez tired, and that could lead him winning the fight. So I think he should really try to push the pressure and make it a real clinch war against the fence, and eventually try to get the takedown and beast D-Rod on top. And for D-Rod, I think that he's going to be moving around and not really trying to use that pressure style early. Maybe in the later rounds he might do it, but Neil being a cardio machine, I don't know if he'll ever have Neil tired enough where he's going to be able to just pressure him and walk him down without the threat of the clinch. But I see D-Rod looking to move around, throw the inside kicks, try to work his check left hooks and jabs as Magny tries to enter range. And he's going to try to, find his times to back up Magny and try to land big overhands. But I think Magny is going to control the center, and D-Rod's going to be on that lateral movement, circling, going side to side, not staying against the cage. And he's going to have to not get clinched up, because if he lets Magny back him up, clinch him against the cage, then it's going to be a long night for him. But I think, with Magny's forward pressure, D-Rod's going to be able to stick that jab in his face, land some big counters, big leg kicks, stick and move. And D-Rod has been taken down a few times. If Magny can get him down, he may start to swing the fight. I'm a bit worried about D-Rod coming back so soon after his fight with the Leech too, because I doubt that he was at 100% during this full training camp. But I think his technique is boxing, staying very balanced, disciplined, not getting overextended, having very good footwork, is going to pay dividends for him in this fight. He has the cardio to not get overwhelmed or tired out from the pressure either. I see Rodriguez being able to move around, use his footwork, the jab, pull counters, box up Magny, land some big punches, use that check hook. And Magny's super durable, and if I'm Rodriguez, I'll just worry about touching and moving, not looking for the KO. And it could definitely materialize, because I think Magny's chin is fading a little bit. But I'm going to say D-Rod wins by decision, probably 29-28, with Magny taking the third round. And I think D-Rod's going to cement himself with 5 wins in a row as top 10 material.